He was weak, subjected to daily bullying, contemptuous looks, beatings, and mockery from everyone around him. But instead of giving up, he entered a deadly isolation and began a 20,000-year training journey through pain and hell. Today, he has returned with a superhuman body, strength that shakes mountains, and a single goal that crushes all who have underestimated him. This is Wu Ling'an, an overweight guy who can't say no, and that's why he's always getting bullied at school. Tired of all this nonsense, he decided to focus on his studies to try to change his life in the future. His biggest dream was that when he grew up, people would judge him based on his abilities and not just his appearance. But it didn't take long for him to realize that besides being an overweight guy, he was also a failing student with terrible grades. After graduating, the only job he managed to get was as a human punching bag at a gym. The ad was looking for someone who weighed over 90 kilograms and didn't need a degree. In the end, he found himself in the same circle, but now the people hitting him were professional fighters. He cried bitterly and wondered why everyone treated him badly. Suddenly, while he was muttering, a large, strong hand grabbed him by the shoulder. It was his supervisor, Mai Renning, asking him for a little help with the gym's monthly report. Wu tried to argue that he was just a training partner, but he already knew he wouldn't be able to refuse the task. Seeing his hesitation, the supervisor became annoyed, flexed his muscles, and asked very threateningly what he had just said. Looking scared, the overweight boy immediately agreed to do the report and was told by his boss to hurry up. Just when he thought the nightmare was over, the supervisor called his name, and Wu looked back, already exhausted. At that moment, all the muscular guys from the gym appeared, asking him to do their reports too. With a dark look in his eyes, it seemed like the hero was finally going to lose his temper and tell everyone to back off, but he just smiled and agreed to do all the work, proving that he really didn't know how to say no. Now it's midnight, and the street is completely dark, with only the light from a lonely street lamp. While Wu works on his computer, he cries and wonders why he didn't refuse, as he wouldn't earn an extra penny from it. Suddenly, he feels a sharp pain in his chest, as if his heart is about to explode at any moment. He remembers the doctor's warning that if he didn't lose weight, he would one day collapse unexpectedly. Feeling his time is up, the overweight boy tries to articulate a request for an ambulance. But, to make matters worse, a message appears stating that his service has been suspended due to non-payment. Hopeless, he realizes that he will really go through that moment alone in that dark room. However, in a last-ditch effort, he decides he needs a change, and he won't leave as an ordinary Wu. So, he clicks to delete the folder of his secret study materials from his computer. Content with his final act of dignity, he smiles and rests his head on the desk, feeling that he can finally leave in peace. His last thought is his wish that in his next life, he wouldn't be Wu anymore. But instead of deleting it, he accidentally clicks send to everyone, and a new message appears on the screen. Elsewhere, his supervisor is surprised that Xiao Wu's report has been finished quickly. Curiously, he opens the folder he received to see what the boy sent. Suddenly, a very inappropriate video starts playing in the middle of the meeting, sending everyone into a panic. The hero's eyes widen in pure shock at the blunder he just committed. Without explanation, he now sees himself as a child and wonders if he has really started his life over again. After 20,000 years, the story takes us to Kyushu, in a place called Dimju. A beautiful fox girl wraps her arms around a young man from behind, calling him affectionately Brother Ling'an. Her name is Tushan Siu, and she asks why he is still on the mountain when they promised to explore the world. The man, who has trained for 20,000 years, lifts the entire mountain with just one arm. Introducing himself as Wu Ling'an, an ordinary human with a simple extra strength, he says he will cause trouble. The girl is shocked and exclaims how an ordinary person could lift an entire mountain. He assures her that he has indeed been reincarnated, and that he spent the last 20,000 years training on that mountain. He then explains that he came to the world as a bankrupt young master of a demonic sect, and to avoid being hunted, he hid in the mountains and told the girl that his training was finally over. The young man thanks the little fox girl for her company, saying that without her, he would have gone insane from boredom. Thanks to the lessons from his previous life, he became extremely disciplined and trained every day for 20,000 years. But after training for so long, he realized something very important about himself. Suddenly, a giant serpent appears before them, staring at them with red, hungry eyes. He realized he was Wu Ling'an. In other words, a person with no spiritual roots for training. The serpent then lunges to attack them, stating that, besides his well-trained body, he has nothing else. However, he does not feel afraid and prepares to face the creature with just his hands. With one strike, he smashes the beast in the face, launching it into the air with amazing force. The impact is so strong that the serpent's body crashes into a solid rock wall upon collision. Wu Ling and himself is astonished by the result, as it shows he has no idea of his own strength. Smiling, he suggests to the girl that they should have snake meat for dinner tonight. The girl eagerly agrees, and they head off together to enjoy the unexpected meal. Xiao thinks that as expected, Brother Ling managed to take down the flood dragon with one hit. While he prepares the meat, she hears an angry voice calling the brave young man a thief. A man floating on a sword accuses the duo of stealing the dragon he was about to defeat. He introduces himself as Xiao Qinghe and accuses them of being from the demonic sect because of this disgraceful act. The hero just looks at the man with a bored expression, completely uninterested in his accusations. In a panic, the young man denies everything and wonders how the guy discovered the truth about them. Right after, he throws himself on the ground and apologizes, saying he didn't mean to take the creature. Xiao stares at them disdainfully and identifies their true nature as a fox demon and a powerless human. Realizing that talking is pointless, the man decides it's time to stop wasting time on them. Without hesitation, he advances towards them with his sword, using a powerful technique to finish them off in one go. Xiao is astonished as the hero simply catches the flying sword with his bare hands. The man falls to the ground in complete shock, pointing at the young man, unable to believe what just happened. With narrowed eyes, he cannot understand how an ordinary boy managed to catch his flying sword. Wu Ling apologizes for taking his weapon but says he had no choice because the man was about to eliminate him. Angry at his rudeness, the master summons dozens of swords to fly and sends them towards them. The young man simply faces the downpour of blades and prepares for an incoming attack. Using incredible speed, he moves through the battlefield and catches all the swords in the air. Then he appears, holding the weapons, and says he caught them by instinct. While Zhao looks at him with admiration, Zhao Qing is frozen in shock, staring at the young man with pure disbelief. When he sees that he has no chance, he turns and desperately runs into the forest. A moment later, he returns with an embarrassed smile, saying it was just a big misunderstanding. The young man politely asks him to return his swords and promises to leave as soon as he gets them. However, as the young man prepares to throw the weapons back, Zhao Qinghe gets ready for a cowardly attack from behind. With an evil smile on his face, he fires a powerful fireball towards the hero. The attack tears through the forest, destroying everything in its path with impressive force. Wu Ling agrees to return the weapons and throws them back at the master as promised. With his body completely burned, the man cannot believe that his attack had no effect on him. The fireball simply dissipated around the young man's body without leaving a scratch. Unfazed, Wu Ling calls out to the girl, saying they need to go back to cooking. Before they leave, the fox girl approaches Xiao Qinghe and asks him to come talk seriously. With a fierce look, she threatens him, saying she does not want to hear any word about what happened there. Terrified, the man agrees with the girl, shaking with fear, sweat dripping down his face. Wu calls to Xiao to hurry up and catch up with him, smiling as hearts float in the air. Xiao Qinghe watches the duo walk away, with the young man carrying the giant serpent's body with one hand. Kneeling on the ground, he wonders who these mysterious people are and where they came from. Then, with an evil smile, he thinks they might be happy now, but it won't last long. He promises to tell the old ancestor of the academy everything, ensuring that these practitioners will pay for what they did. Meanwhile, the girl comments that he defeated fighters yet still insists he is an ordinary person. The young man replies that he won't be a match for a real fighter and that the man was playing with them. He claims to be an ordinary person with no spiritual roots who needs to train his body more. As he walks, he wraps the snake's tail around his body as if it were just another workout. Xiao thinks that although he is very naive, he is also very sweet in his thoughtless behavior. The scene shifts to a mountainous view, showing the path taken by the duo. They arrive at a dark cave, and Wu Ling announces that he will enter loaded with food. At the cave's entrance, there is already a sign warning of demonic presence and the 10 unforgivable crimes. Inside the cave, a strong man shouts, asking who dares to enter their land. With an innocent smile, the hero responds that he came with snake meat for their dinner. The man's expression changes completely, and he says that little Lincoln has finally come to visit them. Behind bars, everyone becomes excited and asks him to pass the meat, because they are hungry. The young man explains that they might not seem friendly, but they are his uncles who care for him a lot. Suddenly, one of the men, apparently the leader, ignites and begins to complain about something important. He is Wu's father, Dr. Lincoln, and reproaches his son for not visiting him in the past 3 hours. The young man explains that he was delayed due to hunting and cooking, and comments that his father likes to roll around. The man asks if the girl convinced him to come down from the mountain again, and the son denies it. Angrily, the father shouts that he cannot leave the mountain at all because it is too dangerous up there. Wu Ling and Xiao are shocked by the exaggerated reaction of the father as he continues to yell at them. The man claims that even after being sealed for 20,000 years, he still remembers the cunning of people from the righteous path. He continues his lecture and asks if his son wants an old man like him to bury his child. The young man lowers his head and apologizes to his father, but it seems he has more to say. Angrily, he shouts that he's tired of hearing the same things for 20,000 years. The father is stunned by his son's courage and stares at him in silence, not quite understanding what he is saying. The young man states that he no longer wants to be trapped in that forest, even if he gets hunted or injured, or worse. The other men say he is being naive and that leaving now would be a final mistake since he is still too weak. The girl interrupts the discussion and reveals that they just faced a fighter from the righteous path. She says that the man was in the nascent soul stage, but Ling defeated him with a single blow. The father wonders how a righteous fighter appeared there, and if his son has truly become strong to that degree. However, the young man reminds him that he is still an ordinary person without spiritual roots. He wonders how he will face stronger fighters even if he has one of their strengths. The man insists that he shouldn't think he's invincible just because he defeated 1 or 2 fighters. The hero shouts that he is not interested in being invincible, and that he has much greater goals. He explains that only by reaching the stage of strength can he break the barrier and save them all. Angrily, the father asks the other men if they were the ones who told his son this, and they all deny it at once. The young man remembers how his father always protected him, even while he was imprisoned for 20,000 years. With determination, he says that now that he has grown up, it is his turn to protect his father and the entire family. The girl intervenes in the conversation and says they seem to have forgotten something very important. She explains that since Ling doesn't have a demonic aura, people won't be able to detect his true identity. The father still feels anxious and says that if he releases any demonic aura while trying to break through, it will be over for him. The young man has already made his decision and tells his father not to blame him while he prepares to leave the cave. The man watches his son leave with a sad but resigned expression, accepting his son's decision. As he is about to exit, the father shouts to stop him and throws something in his direction. The young man catches the object in the air, feeling confused, not realizing what his father threw to him. The object is a small talisman with his name and an unknown symbol inscribed on it. The father reveals that it is the license for the qualification exam of the Xuan Academy. He says that since his son is determined to descend from the mountain, this could be his first stop. The Xuanqing Academy is the best academy for fighters, and all graduates reach the Golden Core stage. The girl asks if it would be more dangerous to go there, but the father explains it is the safest place. Moreover, the academy has many cultivation methods, and it would be the perfect place for his son to find his path. The young man takes the snake meat to cook as he prepares for his new journey. With a large bag on his back, he bids farewell to everyone and shouts that he is heading to the Xuanqing Academy. The girl asks how his father got that rare license despite being imprisoned, but he refuses to answer. The man says he can no longer protect his son and needs to find a way to keep him safe. Sending his son to the academy is the best option he could find to ensure the young man's survival. The father then reveals that there is a secret about his son's body that he needs to share with her. He asks the nine-tailed fox, who is close to being at the emperor level, to protect the young man, no matter the cost. The girl understands the importance of the mission, but she raises a very practical question. With a bored look, she asks who will bring them food. As the two leave, all the men fall into despair over the question and stare at the girl with wide eyes. The father shouts for them to eat quickly because this will be their last good meal for a long time. The fox bids farewell to the old man and prepares to leave, but he calls out to her for a final warning. Disturbed, she asks what he wants and warns him that she will not bring food for anyone there anymore. The man warns her that the world is about to collapse and that time is not on their side. He says that the hidden power within Lincoln must awaken soon because their time is running out. The scene shifts to the entrance of the Xuanqing Academy, a majestic place filled with ambitious young people and spiritual cultivation. The guards are shouting at the candidates, demanding they maintain order and not cut in line under any circumstances. All the youngsters prepare for the test, their cards in hand, waiting eagerly for the exam to begin. The hero carries his heavy belongings, scanning the area, hoping not to attract attention. One of the teachers explains that everyone must insert their cards into the mouth of the stone lion at the entrance. permits. The statue will verify the validity of the permits and if there are any demonic spies among them. The teacher calls the first person in line, urging him to hurry and start the verification process. The young man approaches the lion and carefully inserts his card into the statue's mouth, feeling a bit tense. A blue light sparkles from the statue, indicating that the card is valid and the applicant is exempted. The teacher allows him to enter. Thankful, the young man feels relieved to have passed the first test. Wu Ying becomes very nervous, wondering if the card his father gave him is fake. He tries to calm himself, thinking that as long as he does not practice demonic arts, he shouldn't be exposed. Suddenly, someone cries out in pain nearby, and everyone turns to see what happened in line. A demonic practitioner has been discovered by the statue, which has closed around his hand and won't let go. One of the applicants explains that the lion is made of a special material that does not release a victim when it detects something suspicious. The man begs for his life, claiming he only forged the card and is not from a demonic sect. The teacher calls for the next person and points to the hero, saying, "It's finally his turn." He mentions that the young man with the huge bag looks the most suspicious among them, and asks him to insert his card. Trembling with fear, the young man approaches the stone lion, preparing for a test that could determine his future. Suddenly, the ground starts to shake violently, and the other applicants wonder if it's an earthquake. The statue begins to grip the hero's arm, who feels unbearable pain in the area. However, to everyone's astonishment, the card gets accepted, and the teacher states, "Everything is fine." The young man relaxes and breathes a sigh of relief, celebrating his success in passing the test without being discovered by the statue. But the lion's eyes turn red, and it seems very angry at the young man. The entire statue starts glowing red, and the hero does not understand what is happening. With astonishing force, the statue begins to break and bites his arm harder. Suddenly, the head of the lion flies off and hits another hero's arm, leaving him in a state of shock. Without even trying, the young man ends up smashing the statue to pieces right in front of everyone. The teacher stands helpless in front of the scene while the hero looks at the destruction he caused. He feels embarrassed and bends down to start collecting the pieces, apologizing for the incident. The teacher shouts in anger that he is also from a demonic sect and orders him to be arrested immediately. Surrounded by guards, he asks why he is being detained if his card was approved. The man explains that the lion attacks automatically when it feels any type of demonic energy nearby. The young man panics and thinks that perhaps he has become tainted by his family's aura after living with them for so long. Just as he is about to be taken away, the fox girl appears and shouts for everyone to stop immediately. She says they are careless, and everyone is enchanted by her stunning beauty. The teacher asks why a member of the Beast clan is interfering in the academy's affairs. Ignoring the question, she approaches the young man and protects his arm. She declares that she is Lincoln's guardian and asks why she shouldn't get involved in this. The other applicants are shocked and comment that he has a very important family background. The fox tells the man to look closely at the source of the acceptance card he holds. The teacher looks at the ground and recognizes the card belonging to the first mythical clan in the world. She confirms that it is from the clan that was destroyed 20,000 years ago and that Lincoln is the only living heir. One of the applicants wonders how the strongest clan in the world was destroyed by a demonic sect. Another young man explains that the clan's name literally was the first clan in the world. The fox girl then says it's understandable that the card is tainted with demonic energy. The teacher thinks the boy inherited the legacy by accident, and that he needs to handle the situation very carefully. He allows the duo to go, but warns them not to do anything suspicious, and the hero assures them they will behave well. The fox drags the young man into the academy, and they finally begin their new journey. She tells him not to be so nervous, but the young man is still very anxious about the entire situation. She advises him to act as he normally would, so that no one would suspect his true identity. They enter the academy doors and find themselves in a massive courtyard filled with other students. From the top of the tower, a man watches the new students with a serious and majestic expression. He is Mayani, one of the academy's teachers, and he seems to be evaluating the newcomers who have arrived. Another teacher approaches and asks how the new students are this year. Mani replies that they aren't bad and that there are some outstanding students among them. He points to Ba from the Yujin Peak and T. Shanka from the Huan clan as good examples. The young man approaches Ba from the Huan clan and invites her to team up together. Angrily, the girl tells him to go away and rejects him without even looking at his face. The others comment that she is the genius who reached foundational stage at the age of 11. Ba thinks that her father was right and that none of the newcomers here are worth her attention. Mayani agrees that the quality of the new students isn't bad, but he feels that something is off. Suddenly, he sees the hero tossing huge weights into the air and wonders what is happening. The other teacher laughs, saying that he probably just passed the chi filtration phase. Manhwa responds that he is an interesting character and is likely to fail the first test. Then, he jumps from the tower and flies toward the new students to begin the admission test. The applicants are impressed by the teacher's ability to fly as if it were something normal. He introduces himself as the one responsible for evaluating the new students and explains the next step. Only those who pass all tests will be eligible to become disciples of the academy. The hero feels he has seen this teacher before, but he can't remember where. The man shouts at the young man, asking why he is looking at him in such a strange way. Feeling embarrassed, he tries to explain himself, but ends up saying something that catches the teacher's attention. He points to a shiny wire connected to the back of the man and says it looks a bit reflective. Everyone looks up and sees that the teacher is hanging by a wire like a puppet. Suddenly, the wire snaps, and the man falls to the ground in front of all the astonished students. He approaches the young man and says he looks forward to seeing his results in the upcoming test. Then he is pulled back into the air by the wire, becoming very angry about the embarrassing situation. He screams at his assistant not to stop in the wrong place and threatens him with a deadly glare. The girl with white hair wonders how an academic teacher cannot fly properly. Another teacher thinks the young man is in trouble for having insulted such a despicable man. Suddenly, the teacher rips his shirt and shows his muscles to all the students. He says this was just to lighten the mood, and now the first round of the test will begin. The young man wonders if the instructor is crazy and whether he really needs to rip his shirt to start the test. One student recognizes the instructor's aura and muscles and is astonished by the discovery. He reveals that he possesses the legendary Holy Punching Bag body and a very rare ability. This ability absorbs enemy attacks and converts the energy for the user's own use. In other words, he is practically immune to attacks from people of the same level or lower. The hero is terrified by the idea that he must enjoy getting hit to become strong. The instructor explains that each of them will hit him, and he will evaluate their potential. He glares at the young man and says that since the test is under his control, he will make sure he fails. He points to the young man and says he will be the first to participate in the test. The hero steps forward and asks the instructor to prepare because he is very strong. The instructor laughs and says that even a spiritual practitioner cannot hurt him. He continues to mock the young man, saying it's impossible for a weakling like him to hit him. But before he finishes his sentence, the hero lands a devastating punch on him. The hit was so strong that the instructor flew away and destroyed part of the academy with his body. All the other candidates are shocked, staring at the scene with their eyes wide open. The other teacher is also stunned, seeing the destruction caused by the young man's punch. The young man looks through the hole in the wall and sees the chaos he has created. With a pale face and cold sweat dripping from him, he realizes that he has overdone it with his strength and that everything is over for him now. He finds the instructor collapsed among the rubble, completely unconscious and defeated. The man is out cold, foaming at the mouth, which indicates the power of the blow he received. Not caring about the destruction, the hero turns and asks if this means he passed the test. The other students are terrified by the scene and back away from the young man, afraid of his strength. A fox jumps from one roof to another to get closer and observe the chaos up close. With a proud smile, she thinks it was expected that her brother would draw attention from the start. The other candidates wonder how the instructor was defeated if he was supposed to be immune to attacks. The girl with white hair realizes that she is not the only one hiding her true power there. The colorful teacher approaches his fallen colleague and seems impressed by what has happened. He says that the young man's punch was close to the ultimate level at the spirit stage. Suddenly, the fallen man starts to rise up and opens his eyes with renewed rage. He quickly stands up and glares at the hero with eyes filled with anger and determination. He runs towards the young man, grabs him, and starts yelling at him for attacking him. He complains that the young man hit him when he was unprepared, and furthermore, he hit him in the face instead of the stomach. The hefty young man from the Tani sect realizes that the instructor wasn't ready, and that's why he couldn't withstand the punch. The man says that the previous test doesn't count, and he will throw the young man out if he uses any tricks again. Then he uses his special ability, the fixed holy punching bag. The other young man explains that this is the ultimate defense that converts all power into pure defense. The instructor says he uses this technique in the final tests, and that even if he had all the power in the world, he would not budge. Then the hero punches him again, hard in the middle of the man's chest. The punch sinks into the instructor's chest, yet he doesn't move an inch. The other students are amazed and comment that he didn't move at all. However, the colorful instructor realizes that something is very wrong with the scene and begins to doubt. The colorful teacher reveals that his colleague is actually unconscious while standing from the pain of the punch. To avoid further trouble, he announces that everyone has passed the first round of the exam. The students celebrate their approval while wondering in what world the hero belongs. The young man with white hair approaches and says he didn't expect to find another strong person there. He introduces himself as Zhang from the Huan sect and says his hobby is dual spirit cultivation. Cautiously, he accepts the hero as his brother and wonders if the young man wants something more. The hefty young man from the Tawny sect approaches and also asks to be accepted as a younger brother. He offers to provide accurate information in exchange for the protection of the two strong young men. The boy says he collects information but has no data on the mysterious hero. With a friendly smile, he asks which sector the young man belongs to. The hero feels nervous and stutters, saying he is a farmer on his own without any affiliation. Suddenly, the girl with white hair approaches and everyone steps back to let her pass. She says he loves being the center of attention and that she will show him the difference between him and a true genius. After challenging him, she turns and walks away, leaving the young man in complete confusion. A disguised young man observes the scene from a distance with a mysterious look. The colorful instructor shouts, "Don't celebrate too early, the next match is about to begin." He presses a red button on the remote control, and something unexpected happens to everyone. The surface beneath their feet opens up, and they drop into a dark room directly below them. The candidates wonder what is happening and feel the surface shaking violently. They cling to one another to prevent their fall, as the entire room starts to rumble. It turns out that the room is a giant metallic cube floating in the middle of the academy. Inside the cube, mechanical statues with red eyes prepare to attack the candidates. The robots with armor and pointed helmets line up, ready to start the next test. The students are surrounded by giant machines with no place to escape or hide. The colorful teacher introduces himself as Huang Lu Hong and says he will be the examiner for the second round. He reveals that all the doll mechanisms were created by his Jaya Pavilion. During the test, the machines will constantly attack with weapons hidden in their bodies. The test will continue until an incense stick burns out, and the longer they last, the higher their scores will be. He lights an incense stick on the unconscious instructor and says that luck won't help the weak. The hero faces the robots while the instructor explains that all the weapons are real. The robots' eyes light up with blue light and prepare to fire at the students. With a wicked smile, the instructor welcomes them to the candidate graveyard and begins the test. The robots fire beams of light, and the students run helplessly to evade the attacks. The machines shoot lasers from their mouths, causing complete chaos inside the test room. Many candidates are injured and drop out of the exam, while others fight for survival. The instructor watches the scene and comments that the young man from Huan is not too bad. The girl with white hair uses a special technique to protect herself from attacks from behind. She boasts that thanks to her technique, no one can sneak attack her from behind. But suddenly, a beam hits her directly in the chest, leaving her stunned by the frontal attack. The instructor claims he said nothing and looks away, embarrassed by his previous comment. The colorful instructor is astonished to see another promising candidate among the newcomers. The girl with white hair proves to be surprisingly strong, dodging attacks with great agility. She is surprised to see that the hero is in the battlefield without moving. He simply breaks the ground beneath his feet and crouches to avoid being hit by the beams. With a relaxed breath, he thinks that this way, he won't be hit by the robot's blows. The instructor yells in his face that the test is about speed, not hiding like a coward. He threatens to kick him out if he breaks any of his precious robots again. The girl with white hair says she will get the young man out of there and prepares to intervene. But the other instructor grabs the remote control and says she doesn't need to waste her time on the boy. He lights a cigarette and says he will make the young man feel the true power of the dolls. With an evil smile, he presses the button and activates the strongest mode for the combat robots. The machines start to tremble and disintegrate in front of all the frightened candidates. Parts of the robots begin to join together, transforming into a larger machine. A bright light shines during the merging process, and a new giant robot emerges in the arena. The hero is stunned and wonders if this is the transformation he knows. The hefty young man screams that it's a Yanrang fusion, and that the robots are now much stronger. He also reveals that the doll's weapons are coated with a deadly and dangerous poison. The boy says he only noticed the poison because he feels extremely dizzy and close to losing consciousness. The instructor states that this is not a lesson and that they have taken the test too far. The other man asks if he doesn't want this arrogant boy to succeed in the exam, and he agrees. The robots fire shot after shot, and the hero moves quickly to evade them. He dodges the attacks with amazing agility, leaving the other candidates behind. The young man looks back and realizes that the others are being attacked by the hits he avoided. He feels guilty for dragging them into this mess and apologizes for his mistake. The instructor threatens to send more robots after him, but the young man seems to have a plan in mind. He is surrounded by the giant machines and prepares for the final attack from the robot. With an aura of energy around him, he faces the machines with determination and courage. The instructors warn him that if he harms any more robots, he will be immediately disqualified. The others realize that all the robots are focused on him and feel relieved. The girl with white hair thinks he is in trouble and says that her father was right about him. The story's hero stands still in the midst of the robots, seeming to focus on some upcoming attack. He tells himself that this is the only way to solve the situation and prepares to move. With a powerful leap, he soars into the air and flies toward the giant robot. He delivers a devastating blow to the robot's head and completely destroys it with his strength. The instructors are shocked and wonder how he managed to fly like that. The other candidates are also confused, questioning which world he is currently in. The hefty young man explains that he is not using a spiritual aura to fly, but something else. He is just using the power of his legs to jump and stay in the air for a while. Everyone is amazed by the young man's physical strength and cannot believe what they see. The instructor asserts that regardless of his strength, there is a limit, and he won't stay in the air for long. The robots are ordered to attack the place where the young man will land to surprise him. The hero feels danger and wonders what to do since he can't destroy the robots. Then an idea strikes him, and he uses one of the robots as a foothold to launch himself elsewhere. With a quick move, he steps on the spears and changes direction in the air to dodge the attack. He lands in front of the girl with white hair, who stares at him with a surprised expression. Kneeling in front of her, the young man smiles and asks what she will do now that they are together. She blushes and wonders if he is the type of pervert her father warned her about. Suddenly, he hides behind her and uses her as a human shield against the robot's attacks. The girl's swords block the beams, and she shouts at him for using her as a shield. The young man apologizes and says it's the only way he could think of to stay alive. Angrily, she attacks him with her sword, but he manages to dodge the strike with a swift movement. She says she will finish him off first and glares at him with pure anger and determination. Suddenly, the hero yells for her to stop and points to the flames approaching them. The other students watch the scene and comment that the hero isn't going to stop dodging the attacks. The coach laughs and says now there's nowhere for him to run with all these attacks coming from every direction. The two coaches watch the scene from afar, waiting to see how the young man will get out of this. Suddenly, the incense stick that was in the coach's mouth falls, and an idea lights up in someone's mind. The colorful coach has a plan and looks at the hero with a cunning gaze. The girl with white hair wonders if he has given up, but the young man seems to have another idea in his mind. He starts breathing deeply and gathers a large amount of energy in his body. The coaches wonder what he is doing as he takes deep breaths at a moment that seems like he is finished. Suddenly, he blows with all his strength and creates a powerful windstorm that hits everyone in the room. The other students are swept away by the wind and struggle not to be blown away. The coach thinks it's just a trick and that he won't be able to do anything against them. The storm blows into the coach's hair, leaving it in a terrible state. He approaches the young man and asks if he can interrupt him for a moment to say something. The young man points to the incense stick and says, "The test incense seems to have gone out." The colorful coach realizes the blow, hastens the incense is burning and feels shocked. The plump young man says the hero has a deeper goal behind his mysterious actions. He says that the young man is trying to get benefits for all the other candidates in the room. The girl with white hair feels embarrassed and angry at the awkward situation caused by this and screams that this is not the end before disappearing. Embarrassed by the scene she witnessed, the hero wonders what he did wrong for her to react this way. The other students are hurt, but grateful for the young man's help during that tough test. The colorful coach smiles and says it has been years since he met such an interesting trainee. Suddenly, the academy dean appears and says that this year's assessment is very vital. The students are shocked by the presence of the academy dean and cannot believe what they see. They marvel at how he doesn't seem very trustworthy and that his wig is about to fall off his head. The plump young man reveals that he is the famous Shuri Red, a man feared by many. The other students are confused and do not understand the story behind the dean. They wonder why his red hair is fake if he is such a legendary and frightening figure. The dean approaches the hero and asks him his name to know who the gifted young man is. From a distance, the girl fox watches the scene with worry and apprehension for the young man. She wonders why the dean suddenly appeared and how she will fix the situation now. She uses telepathy to talk to the young man, and he hears her voice in his mind, completely confused. She warns him that he dropped the dean's wig, and he needs to return it as soon as possible. The coach approaches the dean and tries to calm the situation, asking him to be magnanimous. He says that if the coach is as strong as the dean, there won't be a problem with the young man. The hero runs towards the dean at an amazing speed and grabs the wig mid-air. He returns it to the dean's head, shocking the man with the young man's speed. The dean finds it hard to believe what has happened and thinks he wouldn't have noticed it if it weren't for his sharp eyes. The young man smiles and says he picked up what he dropped and that there's no need to thank him. The coach seems shocked to see that the hero has returned the wig. The dean finishes with a flag stuck in his head and appears to be seriously injured. The girl fox screams desperately for him to understand the difference between a wig and hidden weapons. The coach grabs the young man and accuses him of attacking the dean, but he says he must have made a mistake. The dean says simple things like that can't hurt him, but he seems to be in a lot of pain. The coach points out that blood is dripping, but the dean says it's part of the test. The hero praises the dean for not being affected, but the girl fox knows he is just pretending. The dean tries to pull the weapon from his head, but ends up causing more serious injuries to himself. Blood gushes everywhere, and the hero is shocked by the strange scene. He then loses consciousness and falls face first to the ground in front of all the students, who feel fear at the sight. The coach runs to assist the dean and carries him in his arms, desperate for the situation. The students comment that he appears to be an old man who only knows how to talk a lot, but has no real power. The colorful coach announces that everyone has passed the second round, and that the next test will be tomorrow. He orders that the dean be taken to the pharmacy room for urgent treatment. The students wonder if they have really passed the assessment, feeling like something is wrong. One of them says it feels like they forgot something important, but they don't remember what it is. Suddenly, the robots start attacking again, and one of the students screams for the teacher Hong to stop them. The teacher, who had been insulted, watches from afar with an evil smile and a plan in his mind. He thinks he didn't expect the young man to give up so easily and prepares to take action. The other students complain that they almost perished during the test and wonder how they survived. The scene shifts to the students' dorm where everyone is preparing for the next day. The girl with the foxtail finds the story's hero training and asks him why he isn't resting. He says he needs to enhance his skills to succeed in tomorrow's assessment. She agrees that the upcoming assessment is crucial because only those in the best class will get more resources. However, she reminds him that balancing work and rest is also important for him. She offers to use oil to massage his muscles, but he becomes suspicious. The girl thinks Lingen is the most ambitious among them all, but he seems uncomfortable with her. He advises her to be careful, and she takes the opportunity to hug him tightly and gets closer. With a triumphant smile, she thinks her plan has finally worked, and she has got what she wants. Outside, the girl with white hair prepares to go to bed, but she hears something strange. She feels anger towards the story's hero, and promises that he will pay for what he did to her. She hears noise coming from the young man's room and approaches to check what is happening. Out of curiosity, she wonders about the source of the sound and moves closer to the window to spy. She looks through the window and is shocked when she sees the shadows of the hero and the girl with the foxtail in an embarrassing position and feels frightened. Inside the room, the young man jumps rope with a heavy metal chain and says he forgot it. The girl says she emptied the wine to treat the external injuries and gets ready to clean up the mess. She holds a cloth and bends down to wipe the spilled liquid from the room's floor. Suddenly, she steps on the liquid and slips, falling to the ground in an unintentional and funny manner. Outside, the girl with white hair thinks she must save the other girl from the situation. She sees the shadow of the fox girl approaching the window and thinks it's too late to save her. She covers her eyes with her hands and blushes in embarrassment from the scene she imagines happening in there. The hero asks if she is okay, and she replies that she just fell to the ground by accident. She says her clothes got stained and stands up, revealing the damage the wine has caused. The hero blushes at the scene and turns away so he doesn't look at her in that situation. He offers to look for clean clothes, and she thanks him for his concern. Suddenly, the door to the room is kicked open with a strong foot. and someone stormingly enters. The girl with white hair bursts into the room and accuses him of being a killer demon, demanding that he surrender. She sees the scene of the young man bare-chested and the girl in torn clothes and feels completely shocked. She accuses him of defiling the girl's body. The hero feels confused by the accusation of being a killer demon and understands what is happening. He panics and thinks she discovered his true identity as a cult member. She says he doesn't need to say another word and prepares to attack the young man with her weapon. The girl uses her Lingyu sword technique and creates an aura of energy around herself. She launches an attack with 10,000 swords towards the hero with all her might. The young man says he has no choice and will have to anger her to defend himself against the attack. He moves with amazing speed and easily dodges all the attacks. The girl feels shocked by his speed and can't believe what she sees. She says this is not all she has and prepares to use a more powerful technique. With a battle cry, she unleashes a sword strike that pierces the sky towards him. Her eyes shimmer with blue light as she focuses all her energy on the attack. A wave of energy rushes towards the young man as he prepares to receive it directly. He strikes the wave with force and gathers power in his arm, completely destroying it. The girl feels terror when she sees he broke the protective barrier of her sword's coil with his body. Suddenly, she feels something behind her and turns to see what is happening there. The hero appears behind her and delivers a strike that wipes her recent memory. She collapses to the ground, unconscious, while the young man looks at her, unsure of what to do in this situation. He apologizes and says he can't reveal his identity, so he had to do that. The technique he used pumps power into the palm and directs it to the enemy's brain. This results in altering the target's memory, leaving them completely disoriented and without recent memories. The fox girl warns him and tells him to take her to her room before someone finds them and they get into trouble. The young man carries the girl on his shoulders and takes her to her dorm as quickly as he can. He runs across the academy rooftops under the moonlight so that no one sees him there. He places her near what he thinks is her room and prepares to leave. Suddenly, she starts to wake up, and he panics, unsure of what to do with her. He hits her with another memory wipe, but she keeps waking up, making him anxious. He thinks he almost got exposed and feels relieved. He managed to erase her memory, but then he realizes there's a bigger problem and gives into the situation he found himself in. He has no idea where the girl's dorm is and does not know how to return her to her room. From a distance, the plump young man watches the scene and wonders about the relationship between the two. He opens the door to an empty room and places her on the bed to rest. He notices that the room is unoccupied and assumes she might be staying there. The girl begins to wake up and wonders what is happening and where she is now. The hero strikes her with another memory wipe, making her lose consciousness again. He apologizes once more and says he cannot let her discover his identity. The girl with white hair wakes up and doesn't remember anything that happened the night before. He feels anxious because he has never used the technique 3 times in a row on the same person before. He thinks it's better to feel guilty than to be discovered and suffer from his family's heritage. He is surprised by the mess in the girl's room, not expecting this from a girl. Suddenly, he notices something on the floor and becomes alert to what he found there. He sees his wet footprints on the floor and feels panic at the trace he left. He grabs a mop and begins to desperately clean the floor to leave no traces. He realizes he left prints all around the room and decides to clean everything up before leaving. In a glade in the forest, a young man with his head covered sits quietly, drinking tea under the moonlight. He senses someone's presence and asks the person not to hide and to come out immediately. The teacher he wronged appears and praises the talented young man for being easy to find. The covered young man remarks that nothing escapes his eyes and questions why the person was hiding. The man turns and asks for help in dealing with a new student who has been bothering him. The young man asks why he should help him, and the teacher offers his support in the next election. He promises to support the young man to become the next head of the family if he assists him. The covered young man agrees to the deal and inquires about the identity of the student he will face. The teacher reveals that it's the arrogant boy Wing, and the young man smirks wickedly. He states that he will rig the draw, and that the talented young man just needs to unintentionally bring him out. The young man agrees to the plan and asks the teacher not to forget his promise. The teacher calls the boy again and asks what else he needs. The man expresses that he requires help with something else and reveals an unexpected situation. His leg is trapped by a green water dragon, and he cannot free himself alone. He begs the young man to save him and questions how someone like him became a teacher. With no other choice, he decides to intervene and prepares to attack the dragon with his sword. He cuts off the dragon's tail and liberates the teacher from the creature that was holding him. With a strong blow, the dragon is completely destroyed, saving the man from danger. He says, "It's over," and the teacher falls from the sky toward him with a look of relief. The young man opens his arms to welcome him, and the man thanks him for his strength and bravery. He asks the teacher to let him go, but the man seems to be enjoying the moment. The young man throws him into the water and walks away, leaving the teacher alone and wet in the lake. Elsewhere, the masked young man encounters a spirit and states that it has finally appeared. The spirit warns the young man that the hero is not as he thinks and is very powerful. It says that the strength the young man has shown is something he will find difficult to achieve. The young man retorts that there is no one in the world who can defeat him, and the spirit seems skeptical of his confidence. It reveals that it travels through time and therefore knows things that others do not. It states that it was an ordinary student in another world before being reincarnated in this place. He was transported to this world after being hit by a truck in an accident. He became a prominent young man from the Xiao family and began his journey. He stumbles and falls face down into an examiner and discovers a mysterious ring within. The ring contained the spirit of Master Dan, who helped him become stronger and more powerful. He believes that with his own heroic archetype, no one can stop him on his path. He states that the hero's fate is to be defeated at his hands, even if there is no conflict between them. Meanwhile, the distinguished young man sneezes for no apparent reason and wonders why that is. He doesn't think much of it and decides to leave, since the room is clean and tidy. He exits the room and carefully locks the door so as not to wake the sleeping girl. He bids her farewell and walks away, leaving her alone in the room to rest peacefully. The masked young man returns to his room and finds the door open, causing him to doubt. He enters the room and realizes that someone had been there while he was away, wondering what it could be. He approaches the bed and is shocked to find the white-haired girl sleeping there. He cannot believe what he sees and wonders how she entered his room. He blushes from the unexpected situation and does not know how to react. He observes her sleeping and realizes that she is the dream princess of a younger generation. He remembers that this is not the time to fall in love and tries to focus on the current situation. He approaches the cabinet and grabs a dose to help the girl recover. He thinks that this is the girl who cleans his room and sleeps on his bed, which can only mean one thing. With a confident look, he concludes that she must be in love with him and feels excitement. He recalls reading comic stories in his previous life and how the heroines always fall in love. He wonders if the white-haired girl is the heroine of his destiny and steps closer to her. He realizes she has not yet woken up and questions why she is taking so long. The spirit explains that her consciousness was damaged, which is why she cannot wake up. The young man concludes that she must have expended too much energy while cleaning his room, which is why she fainted. He says he learned first aid in his previous life and will help her recover. He kneels beside her and prepares to perform mouth-to-mouth resuscitation to wake her. The girl begins to stir and asks what is happening and where she is. He leans in to kiss her, but she wakes up and sees him hovering over her with a strange expression. Suddenly, the hero hears an explosion and turns to see what is happening. The girl pushes him away and screams at him not to let her see him again. He wonders why she attacked him if she clearly shows feelings for him. He concludes that the women of that world are naturally reserved and that he was too quick. The spirit asks why he is so sure that she loves him and not just that she entered the wrong room. With a confident smile, he declares that it's because he was born to be a successful hero. Outside, the girl wonders how she ended up in another person's bed and feels confused. She vaguely remembers encountering the hero, but the details are unclear. Suddenly, she remembers everything and realizes he is from a dangerous demonic sect. She accuses him of using bodies for cultivation and is stunned by her discovery. She thinks she did not expect to stumble upon such a big secret and realizes the danger she faces. With a determined smile, she vows to find evidence proving that he is from a demonic sect. She screams his name into the night and vows that she will take revenge for what he did to her. The other students hear the screams and wonder what happened between the two. The next day, everyone gathers in the performance theater for the next test. They complain about the delay and wonder why no coach has appeared yet. The hero trains with giant weights and says he needs more training. The fox girl reassures him, stating that with his strength, he will surely secure a spot in the higher tier. The white-haired girl looks at him angrily and calls him a braggart for showing off like that. The other students wonder why she seems excited to see him and what happened. The chubby boy smiles and says that no one there knows the full story between the two, and that their relationship is deeper than they think, getting ready to spill everything. But just before he can speak, the covered young man threatens him with a sword against his neck. He tells him not to tarnish the girl's reputation, and the chubby boy agrees. Terrified by the threat, the young man throws him to the ground and walks away, leaving the chubby boy scared and confused. The others wonder why he got so angry and deduce that he must be fond of her. The young man thinks that the girl is the heroine of his destiny, and that she would not get involved with an ordinary person. Suddenly, one of the trainers shouts for everyone to be quiet and pay attention. The students turn to see 3 trainers standing on stage, ready to begin the test. They announce that the 3rd evaluation is about to start, and all the students pay attention. The trainer explains that in this round, they will be tested in real combat without restrictions. The school dean, wearing a new wig, observes everything closely for personal evaluation of the process. The hero notices the dean's new wig, and the fox girl tells him to be quiet to avoid trouble. The colorful trainer presses a button, and a strange machine appears in the middle of the stage. He explains that everyone must draw combat numbers to determine fighting pairs. The students line up one by one to put their hands inside the machine to get a number. The hero steps forward, preparing to grab his number and find out who his opponent is. He puts his hand in the machine and feels something strange happening to the paper he picked. The trainer he dislikes signals the start, and a sharp blade shoots out from the machine. The blade cuts the paper in his hand, and he realizes that something is very wrong with the draw. He looks at the paper and sees that the number is completely torn and unreadable. He turns and sees the trainer laughing with an evil look and realizes he has been sabotaged. Suddenly, he feels something odd and turns to the machine to see what is happening. He looks at the paper in his hand and sees the number 38, confused by what it means. The trainer continues to laugh and seems pleased with the outcome of his evil plan. The scene shifts to the fighting arena as the hero prepares to face his opponent. The trainer boasts about orchestrating the hero's draw, claiming he didn't become a trainer for nothing, and that his plan will succeed perfectly. The covered young man states that he is not in the same group as the hero, and the trainer laughs. He explains that this young man possesses some strength, but he didn't intentionally place him in the same group. He wanted someone to test the hero's abilities before confronting him personally. The hero sees a shadow of his opponent and wonders who his opponent in battle will be. He approaches to find a massive muscular man standing before him with a look of disdain. The man calls the hero weak and says he should surrender before the fight begins. The chubby boy recognizes the man and is shocked to see who his friend's first opponent is. He reveals that the man is Wang Tigu, a famous and fearsome fighter from the martial arts world. The man states that he has followed the hero's previous evaluations and is not impressed at all. He calls him trash with little natural strength and disdainfully criticizes his lack of skill. He boasts that he is at the peak of his refinement and threatens to knock him out with one blow. The fox girl feels anger at the provocation and prepares to intervene in the fight. The man challenges her, asking if she wants to fight him instead of the young man. The other students are excited to see the fight and wonder if the hero will succeed. Suddenly, a wave of energy emanates from the hero, pushing everyone away from him. The girl wonders in her heart why he is being so polite to his opponent, but he says what the man said is true. The man insists he knows the difference between them. He should kneel and beg. The hero prepares to respond, facing the man with a serious and stern look, and declares that despite his weakness, he has reasons to continue fighting. He refuses to surrender. The man glares at him with red eyes full of rage and prepares for the upcoming fight. He tells the young man to get ready to be defeated in the arena and begins to leave. The fox girl praises the hero for his courage, and he feels embarrassed by her compliment. The killer meets with the teacher and the young man in robes to discuss the plan. He says that if he helps him out, he needs to be placed in the first tier, and the teacher assures him that he will. He promises to make the boy understand how strong he is, and that he will defeat him. The teacher hopes the hero does not get eliminated in the first round and laughs wickedly. He announces that the drawing has concluded and calls the first new student to the combat arena. The white-haired girl is the first to be summoned, and everyone is excited to see her fight. Her opponent is the white-haired young man, who again invites her to cultivate together. The other students are angry at his audacity and shout for him to be thrown off the stage. They throw food at him, but he dodges them, and the attacks hit the teacher. The man complains that he avoided the strikes, but the attacks hit him, and he is furious at the situation. The young man in robes watches the scene and promises to remember the boy's name because of his interest in the girl. The teacher wonders how they became so close so quickly, and the young man says it is the hero's aura. The Academy Dean asks them to cut the performance and announces the start of the first match of the tournament. The students prepare for the fight, the teacher covered in food and dirt. The white-haired girl gets ready to fight with all her strength and faces her opponent. The white-haired young man boasts about his strength and prepares for the upcoming duel. He faces the girl and tells her this is exactly what he wanted to happen. He says she does not understand the power of the Hyun sect and reveals his true abilities. He gets ready to use a special technique, the Ghost Iron Mountain Fall. With a swift motion, he creates shadow clones to confuse the girl in the arena. The chubby boy is astonished and remarks that he is using quick moves to create the clones. He says that if she cannot figure out which one is his real body, she will never defeat him. The girl faces him with a serious expression and prepares for the upcoming attack. She notices that all the clones spread their legs oddly and gets an idea. She strikes him in a very sensitive spot, causing him to cry out in pain and reveal his true body. He calls her a slut for hitting him there as she glares at him with disdain. He says he has already harassed others in the past and thus was prepared for that blow. Shocked by his audacity, she wonders how he can be proud of that. She prepares to attack again, and he says that since she didn't accept his good intentions, he won't be merciful and will use all his power to defeat her in the arena. He launches an energy ball at her and gets ready for the final attack. He runs around her, creating more shadow copies to confuse her again. The hero wonders why he doesn't just throw a chi ball at her directly. The chubby young man explains that the higher the practitioner's level, the further their chi ability can reach. He realizes that both his father and the fox girl are very strong and is shocked by this discovery. The shadow copies shoot energy balls at her from all sides. She catches the energy balls and asks him if that's all he has to show. He says the show must stop and prepares for the next attack with more seriousness. She warns him not to underestimate her and gets ready for what's coming in the fight. He attacks her from behind, but she spins and avoids the strike with a swift and agile move. He boasts about his ability to control the chi ball and says she has no chance of winning. He launches the ball at her, but she catches it with her hands effortlessly. Surprised by how easy it was to catch his attack, she glares at him with disdain. He fires more balls as she gracefully dodges all of them in the battlefield. He jumps in the air and prepares for an aerial attack, but she is ready to face him. She strikes him with a powerful kick, sending him flying with the force of the blow. The instructors are amazed by her ability to control spiritual energy. The chubby young man explains that it is a secret technique of the Huan sect that controls energy. The girl with white hair prepares for the next attack and confronts him with determination. She is angry because she had to use her sword against such a scoundrel. She unleashes a strong attack towards him, ready to finish the fight. He protects himself with an energy barrier, but she cuts through the barrier with her sharp sword. His pants rip in the middle of the fight, and he feels embarrassed by the awkward situation. He is stunned that she managed to break his energy ball so easily. The scene shifts to the hero, who watches the fight with interest and curiosity. It seems he is analyzing the techniques of the two fighters to learn from them. The young man falls to the ground defeated, and the girl with white hair wins the first fight of the tournament. The hero is shocked by her ability to control energy and wonders how she did it. The instructor announces that the girl has won the match, and the audience celebrates her victory. She glares at the defeated young man with a look of contempt and turns her back to leave the arena. The hero wonders if this is what a fight between practitioners looks like. Suddenly, a girl gets hit by a giant chicken leg and falls to the ground. The hero turns around and sees a girl with pink hair expressing admiration. She says that the girl with white hair is the #1 among the younger practitioners. The girl with white hair hears the compliments and wishes to be as strong as her one day. The hero admires the pink-haired girl's size, and the fox girl appears jealous. She turns and strikes the fox across the face with her chest, leaving the fox girl stunned. The fox girl realizes the hero likes that and gets a strange expression on her face. The girl with pink hair looks at the chicken leg and seems very hungry. She asks if the hero wants to eat, drooling over the food. He says he has been training a lot since yesterday and is really hungry after all that effort. The fox girl wonders what she should do and can't believe a stranger understands him better. The hero starts eating the chicken leg, and the fox girl is amazed by the sight. The instructor orders that the defeated young man be taken away to prepare for the next match in the tournament. The hero eats and asks for the name of the pink-haired girl who helped him. She introduces herself as Mereng Chan, a student who entered the academy last year. The fox girl asks if she is here to compete with the new students, and the girl denies it. She explains that she failed and is taking the entrance exam again. The hero says she doesn't seem nervous, and she replies that if she fails, she will be expelled. The chubby young man reveals that the girl comes from a famous family of renowned alchemists. Her family members are known everywhere and are highly respected. She developed a technique that combines chemistry and cooking to produce powerful food. The hero is shocked to learn that the meat he ate was actually a spirit being. He feels embarrassed for eating her flesh, but she says it's not a problem. She says she can't see someone hungry and smiles warmly at him. The young man is fascinated by her kindness, while the fox girl shows jealousy at the scene. He calls her an angel, and the fox girl yells that it's not a big deal and he's exaggerating. Suddenly, the girl with white hair approaches, and everyone makes way for her to pass. The pink-haired girl walks up to her and asks for an autograph with sparkling eyes. She looks at her with an expression of admiration and respect for her strength and skill. The girl with white hair refuses her request and warns her to be cautious when making friends. The hero and the fox girl watch the scene and don't understand the girl's attitude. She approaches the hero and threatens him, saying she will find out what he did. The other students wonder what happened and whether what the chubby boy said was true. The instructor announces the next match and calls the hero to the combat arena. The girl with white hair glares at him with a challenging look and prepares to fight. She asks him if he is close to the other girl, and he says he only knows her. She begs him to introduce her to the other girl because she wants to be as strong as the girl with white hair. Suddenly, the instructor calls the pink-haired girl to the arena, and she is shocked by the call. She apologizes for not hearing and gets ready to fight in the entrance tournament. She asks him not to forget to talk to the other girl, and the young man agrees to try. The fox girl says the girl is strange, and he should avoid getting involved with her. He says she seems like a good person and that anyone who cares a lot about others can't be bad. The instructor warns her that this is her last chance to succeed, and she says she knows. She takes a deep breath and prepares for the fight that will determine her future in the academy. She deeply regrets the thought of going back to where she came from, and focuses on the fight. The coach calls number 36 to step up to the stage, and the hooded young man approaches. He stares at the pink-haired girl with a wicked smile and prepares for the fight. She stares back at him with a surprised expression, not understanding what is happening. He takes off his hood, revealing his identity, which shocks the girl, who is surprised to see him there. He says he came to participate and readies himself for the fight with a confident look. The two face each other in the arena, preparing for the match that will determine their fate. The university dean and the colorful coach watch the scene and wonder how the girl from the meringue family ended up there. The coach explains that she almost failed all her assessments last year. Even the chemistry test, which she was supposed to be good at, was disastrous for her. The coach says that if she doesn't win any matches, she will have to go home. The heroine realizes that even though she can make medicinal food, she lacks fighting skills. The coach announces the start of the match, and the opponents face each other in the arena. He jumps aside to give them space to fight with all their strength and skill. The pink-haired girl says she cannot lose under any circumstances and prepares for the battle. The hooded young man says he didn't expect to fight a beautiful girl like her. He boasts of his extensive experience and claims he will easily win the next fight. He imagines that after the battle, she will be impressed by him and jump into his arms. Suddenly, the girl attacks him with a powerful strike, hitting his face directly. The blow sends him flying, and he falls to the ground, stunned by her strength. The heroine wonders why he is just standing there smiling instead of fighting. The spirit warns him not to get lost in dreams and not to be knocked out in the first round. He says that he is the hero and won't easily lose to a girl like her. She strikes him again with a strong hit, but he grabs her wrist and stops her. He tells her that the same move won't work twice and gives her a serious look. She attacks him with a kick, but he dodges and throws her away with a swift step. He prepares for the next attack, and the girl stares at him with resolve. She runs towards him and prepares for a close attack with all her strength. He faces her with a confident smile and gets ready for what's to come in the fight. The scene shifts to the hero, who watches the fight closely and learns from both of them. He says that ordinary fighting will never hit him and boasts of his skills. The hero encourages the girl, while the fox girl feels jealous because he is cheering for the other girl. The pink-haired girl takes a deep breath and gets ready to use a secret powerful technique, pulling out a giant chicken leg and saying she cannot lose in the fight. Then she shoves the entire leg into her mouth, leaving the young man astonished by the bizarre sight. The chubby young man realizes that she is using the spirit food to boost her fighting power. He wonders what would happen if she ate it all at once, since they are genuine pills. He fears that an immense energy would explode within her all at once. Suddenly, she emits intense light, and the young man uses his hand to shield himself from the energy explosion. Her clothes tear apart from the energy blast, giving her a more savage and powerful appearance. Both the hero and the fox are stunned and wonder if the explosion destroyed her body or her clothes. The nose of the hooded young man starts to bleed, and he laughs at the scene he just witnessed. He says that even with her last effort, she won't be able to defeat him. She says that even if it seems impossible, she must try and gets ready for the attack. She kicks him hard, but he dodges and effortlessly tosses her away. The spirit warns him that her power has now surpassed the chewing phase. She insists that it's not over yet, and she readies for a more powerful and destructive attack. He says he will take the fight seriously and prepares for the next battle. The two face each other in the arena, getting ready for the final battle that will determine the winner. The scene shifts back to the hero, who watches the fight closely and learns from both. He is shocked to see her able to withstand his attack with such strength and skill. She strikes him with a powerful kick, sending him flying with the force of the blow. The hero praises her strength, but the fox girl says she's going beyond her limits. She explains that at this rate, she won't be able to fight for more than a few minutes. The pink-haired girl breathes deeply and wonders if she has managed to win the fight. She looks at her fallen opponent and can't believe she defeated him so easily. The coach feels worried for the young man, but the dean reassures him, telling him not to worry. He says that the match isn't over yet, and that the hooded boy has not been defeated. Suddenly, the young man wakes up and says he didn't expect to be taken out by a local girl. He says it seems he must show his true strength to win this fight once and for all. He prepares and faces the girl with a serious and determined look, ready to battle. He says this time he won't hold back and will use all his power to defeat her. He rushes towards her at an amazing speed, and she prepares for the attack. She is shocked by his speed and can't believe what she sees. He attacks her from above, and the hero yells for her to watch out for the incoming strike. She spins and prepares to counterattack, but he is faster and strikes her directly. The hit sends her flying, and she falls to the ground, defeated and without strength to fight. He stares at her with a victorious smile and prepares for the next attack with hatred. He produces a blue flaming lotus and launches it towards her with a sinister smile. The attack hits her directly, throwing her away with a powerful energy explosion. Her shadow appears in the midst of the explosion, and the young man seems satisfied with the result. She screams in pain as the devastating blow strikes her, and she falls to the ground helpless. Both the hero and the fox girl are shocked by the force of the attack and feel concern for the girl. Her clothes are torn, and she seems to be suffering from battle injuries. The fox girl covers the hero's eyes and tells him not to look at her. The spectators are surprised to see that the young man possesses the blue lotus flame, and they admire him. The girl takes a deep breath and wonders what has happened to her after the fierce attack. He approaches her and asks if she still won't give up after everything that has happened. She looks at him with a determined gaze and prepares for the next move in the fight. She takes a vial and drinks its contents in one go to regain her strength and energy. The liquid envelops her body in flames, and she prepares to attack with renewed and striking force. He is shocked by her recovery and can't believe what he sees. She attacks him with a series of powerful strikes, hitting him directly with all her strength. He tries to defend himself, but she is faster and hits him relentlessly. She approaches him mercilessly and doesn't give him a chance to respond. The coaches wonder if the girl has gone insane, watching the scene in astonishment. The hero notices that her aura has intensified and wonders if she has reached a higher level. The scene shifts to the girl, who seems to have awakened to a new power inside her. The fox girl explains that she is pushing her limits by using more pills to win. She says that in that moment, she is literally burning her vitality to fight. The girl with pink hair says she cannot lose and continues attacking with all her strength. He defends against the strikes and notes her stubbornness and refusal to give up. He says he won't hold back any longer and prepares to use a powerful final attack. He launches a blue lotus explosion at her and sends her flying away with the force of the strike. The explosion directly hits her, and she is thrown away without a chance to defend herself. She screams in pain as the attack strikes her, and she falls to the ground defeated and powerless. He prepares to attack again, but the coach screams at him to stop fighting. He says the fight could end in tragedy and orders an immediate halt to the combat. He attacks her with a blue lotus storm, trapping her in a whirlwind of energy. The coach shouts that the match is over, but he does not stop attacking and continues to fight. He says it's too late, and he won't stop until she surrenders and retreats from the fight. The girl wonders if it's really over and prepares for the worst. Suddenly, she remembers her past and how she was reprimanded by her family. Her father accuses her of shaming the family for studying useless recipes instead of chemistry. She says her food also has pill effects and doesn't understand why she can't use it. Her father hits her and says cooking is a disgrace to the meringue family name. He decides to send her to the academy, and if she doesn't learn, she will be forced into marriage. He calls her useless and kicks her out of the house, telling her never to show her face again. She clenches her fist tightly, saying she needs to prove her food is as good as the pills. She remembers her dream of changing people's perception of cooking and feels despair. In the end, she wonders if anything can really change and if she can prove her worth. Suddenly, the hero appears in front of her, protecting her from the young man's attack. He stops him from attacking and says she is a good person and he cannot hurt her. He says if he intends to hurt her, he'll have to go through him first and challenges him. He tries to draw his weapon, but Kanon realizes that the young man is very strong. He says the hero is brave and looks at him with disdain and admiration. The coach interrupts the fight and asks everyone to leave the arena as the match is over. He announces that the winner of the match is the young man, and the girl is devastated by the news. He glares at the hero with a triumphant smile, boasting about his victory in the arena. He warns the young man that he has to win the next match or he won't get a chance to face him. The hero says he will do his best to get past the first round and looks at him with rage. The fox girl gets angry at his calmness and says the young man was clearly threatening him. The pink-haired girl approaches and coughs weakly, indicating she has sustained severe injuries. He asks her if she is okay, and she thanks him for saving her from the opponent's attack. She expresses her regret for not being able to win a single round, even after giving it her all in the fight. She begins to cry despairingly, feeling humiliated by her loss in the fight. Suddenly, she starts to vomit, and the hero worries about her condition. He says she's okay, and the fox girl prepares to bring healing pills to help her. She says she ate too much food and ended up throwing up, but the fox girl suspects it looks like blood. The hero offers to help her rest, and she thanks him for his kindness. The coach calls out to him and asks where he thinks he's going with the pink-haired girl. He says it's his turn to fight, and the hero prepares for the upcoming confrontation. He reveals that his opponent is the killer Wang Tizu, and the man glares at the young man with contempt. He orders the fox girl to take the girl off the stage, and she reluctantly agrees. She wonders why she has to take care of that foolish woman and takes her to a safe place. The coach tells both of them to prepare for the fight, and the arena goes completely silent. The hero and his opponent face each other in the arena, ready for the final battle. The man mocks him, saying he has given up his last chance to survive. The hero faces him in silence, preparing for the battle that is about to begin. The coach announces the start of the match, and the killer advances to attack the young man. He attacks him with his huge weapon, but the hero is ready to confront the strike. He says if that's the case, he'll have to take him out and looks at him with a wicked glare. The girls feel anxious about the hero and wonder if he'll be okay in the fight. The fox girl tells the pink-haired girl not to worry because they don't understand her brother's strength, and there's no attack he can't overcome. The hero confidently faces his opponent and gets ready for the fight. He wonders what kind of move he is using and looks at him curiously. The killer takes a deep breath and prepares to use a secret and very powerful technique. He unleashes a dark energy aura and shouts with all his might in the battlefield. An explosion of golden light occurs, and the hero watches the scene with great interest. He presses against the ground with force and prepares for the final attack, with a gaze filled with determination. He reveals his secret technique, the Iron Pillar Dance, and takes a completely strange stance. The hero's nose starts to bleed as he is shocked by the scene he is witnessing. The other students also feel disgusted and start feeling nauseous at the sight. The chubby man says this is why no one who has seen a fight can stand again afterwards. The colorful coach says that using this flashy move is a disgrace to the academy. The dean scolds him, stating that the visual effect is just a distraction from the real attack. He points to others who have fallen to the ground, saying there's something really wrong with them. The hero also feels nauseous and realizes the attack has a hidden effect. The killer jumps into the air and prepares to attack the young man while he's distracted. He attacks him with his large weapon, but the hero manages to evade the strike just in time. He says the young man won't miss the opportunity and chases him around the arena, weapon in hand. He attacks again with a powerful strike, but the hero prefers to dodge the attacks. He uses the stormy Iron Pillar Dance and creates a whirlwind of energy in the arena. The other students can't take it anymore and start to vomit at the disgusting sight. The pink-haired girl realizes his trick and prepares to face the attack. she uncovers that his trick is releasing poisonous smoke from his iron pillar. He says the whole arena is covered in toxic smoke and the match is definitely his. The hero covers his nose and mouth to avoid inhaling the poison and gets ready for the fight. The girls complain that using poison in secret is despicable, but he doesn't care at all. He says, in a life or death situation, all means are allowed to win the fight. The coach smiles and thinks he is exactly the type of killer he hired. The young man almost fell into the trap, but the coach corrects him, saying he actually fell for it. The killer attacks him with his huge weapon and orders him to perish in suffering in the arena. The hero feels his body freezing and his head spinning from the poison's effect. He wonders what is happening and realizes he is in a very dangerous position. The man mocks him, saying he can't even use 10% of his strength now. He says he'll end his suffering quickly and glares at him with harshness. He attacks him with a powerful strike, but the hero manages to defend himself. The strike hurts him, but he doesn't give up and prepares to face the opponent's attack. The killer attacks him with a flurry of blows, and the hero struggles to stay on his feet. He hits him repeatedly and hysterically with his special iron dance, leaving him no chance to retaliate. The hero is struck from all sides and seems to be losing the battle badly. The pink-haired girl can't believe he is losing so badly, and the fox girl screams for him to stop. She shouts to the coaches to stop the match, but they do nothing to intervene. The coach says he still has the ability to fight, so they can't stop the fight. The hero continues to be beaten, but he doesn't give up his determination and prepares for a counterattack. The pink-haired girl watches the scene from afar, looking frustrated at his strength. She says if this is all he's got, he's causing her real disappointment and glares at him with disdain. The killer prepares for the final blow and raises his weapon to attack the young man. He strikes him with a devastating hit, and it seems the hero has finally been defeated. The girls are shocked by the scene and can't believe what has happened. The man is astonished to see that the hero is still standing and stares at him in amazement. The young man grips his weapon with both hands and stops the attack again with his strength. He says, with a little strength he has left, he still wants to resist and looks at him with contempt. The hero says that due to his limited strength, he needs to put everything into his last strike. The man laughs, saying a weak blow like that won't be able to hurt him at all. He strikes him with a powerful blow to the stomach, and the man is shocked by the strength of the blow. He can't believe that such a weak strike could cause him all this damage. The energy explodes from the hero and hits the killer with all its might. The strike sends him flying into the air, landing on the ground, defeated and with no power left to fight. The girls and the chubby man are stunned by the scene and can't believe what has happened. The man wakes up and faces the hero with a gaze full of anger and determination. He attacks him again with a powerful punch, but the hero is ready to respond. He strikes him directly, and the man screams in pain from the force he received. He falls to the ground defeated, and the hero wins the battle with his last effort. He stands, wounded but triumphant, declaring that he won the battle with his final strike. The killer can't believe he lost and claims it's impossible for him to be defeated. He asks how the hero managed to beat him if he was poisoned and had no strength to fight. He wonders if the young man has a special ability that protects him from the poison. The hero says that this is the power he possesses even after losing his strength. The man calls him a monster and stares at him with a look full of fear and admiration. The coach announces that the winner of the round is the hero, and the crowd cheers. He celebrates his victory and feels relieved to have passed the first round. The dean orders the toxic fog released by the killer in the fighting arena to be dispersed. The colorful coach uses a fan to purify the air and get everyone out from the effect of the poison. Drops of the antidote fall on the students, and they start to recover from the poison. They feel their bodies returning to normal, and their strength gradually restoring. The hero also feels better and realizes that the poison did not affect him much. The girl with the pink hair praises his victory and jumps with joy in the arena. She hugs him tightly and says he is stronger than she imagined. The fox girl feels angry at the scene and prepares to separate the two with intense jealousy. She stomps on the ground and gets ready to attack the girl, hugging him. She pushes her away and screams to not come near her brother Lingon. The girl says she just wanted to congratulate him, but the fox girl accuses her of wanting his body. The scene shifts to the next battle as the hero prepares to face his next opponent. The masked young man complains that he should be surrounded by beautiful girls, not the hero. The coach says that the young man's power really exceeded his expectations and he admires him. He asks if the masked young man is sure he can handle him, to which he confidently replies that he is. He says that in his dictionary there is no word weakness, and he prepares to fight. Suddenly, an old man interrupts him and gives him a fine. He says that setting fire to the academy incurs a fine of 500 spirit stone. The young man feels annoyed and asks who he is and why they find him like this. The coach grabs him and says he is responsible for discipline and is the dean of the academy. The old man glares at the young man with a serious look and leaves him speechless. He points to the academy president and says he's watching everything with care and attention. The young man pays the fine, but the old man fines him again for attacking one of the academy staff. He becomes furious about the situation, but the coach calms him down and tells him to pay the fine. He vows to take revenge on the academy president, the old man, and also on the hero for everything that has happened. He stares at the young man with a look full of hatred and vows that he will take revenge on him too. The hero feels a chill and wonders why the atmosphere suddenly turned cold. The plump young man congratulates him for defeating a 5-star killer so easily. He says that thanks to him, he got a lot of information that will sell well in the black market. Suddenly, the coach calls the plump young man, saying he is the last one to fight in the first round. The young man is shocked and prepares to fight in the final championship. The scene changes to the arena where the plump young man prepares to face his opponent. He confronts his opponent in the arena and gets ready to start the fight. His opponent is Yu-Gi-Oh, a young man with red hair and a serious, confident look. The dean reveals that the young man is his useless grandson, surprising the colorful coach. He says the boy refuses to learn the family's techniques, so he sent him to the academy. Other students recognize him as the grandson of the academy president and comment on his appearance. The hero warns him that he will be severely beaten, but the plump young man laughs and shrugs it off. He says his intelligence can compensate for his lack of fighting skills. He reveals he has a lot of information about the academy president's grandson and is ready to fight. He says that with his secret techniques, he won't back down in the arena without a fight. The coach announces the start of the match, and the plump young man prepares to use his technique. He uses the royal technique to open the celestial eye, revealing a third eye on his forehead. The fox girl explains that it is a secret ability that can see the future and is very rare. The plump young man faces his opponent, preparing to use his ability to anticipate his moves. The red-haired young man comments that the fight is getting exciting and prepares to attack. He uses Tang analysis to calculate the odds of his opponent's attack. He predicts that the likelihood of him using ground techniques is 85%. The young man uses the earth rock push technique and the plump young man prepares to evade the attack. He creates a giant rock wall and launches it toward the plump young man with all his might. The plump young man dodges the attack, surprising the red-haired young man with his agility. He comments that the attack's path was indeed in his calculations and that he wouldn't get hit. The hero notes that the plump young man is light on his feet, and the fox girl confirms that the reason is his celestial eye. She explains that, with this ability, he receives thoughts from a royal ancestor from the Tang clan, essentially, as if he were possessed by a royal spirit, which is why he fights so well. Now, the academy president's grandson is unfazed and prepares for the next attack as his hands glow red. The plump young man then calculates that there is a 90% chance his opponent will use close combat techniques. Suddenly, the young man uses a technique to shorten the distance and charges toward him quickly. In a swift motion, he appears in front of the plump young man and prepares to attack him with a punch. The plump young man does not panic, telling himself he just needs to raise his hand in a certain position. With a confident smile, he thinks he can easily deflect the opponent's attack. But to his astonishment, he receives a punch directly to the face with devastating force. The blow sends him flying, and he falls to the ground unconscious and defeated. The academy president's grandson himself is shocked by the outcome and doesn't understand what just happened. The plump young man lies on the ground with a large bruise on his head, looking out of the fight. The hero screams the name of his friend, concerned about his current condition. The young man wakes up and scribbles in his notebook that he needs to account for the power difference next time. The hero shouts that it's not the time for taking notes, and the plump young man falls to the ground again. The coach congratulates the young man on his victory and wonders if the plump young man will be okay. The academy president says that his grandson has improved, but he still refuses to use his family techniques. The red-haired young man looks up and faces his grandfather and the coach in the academy tower. Without saying a word, he walks away from the fighting arena with a serious look. He then tells the young coach Yui to leave the stage and prepare for the next round. Meanwhile, the hero carries his friend on his back and praises him for his fighting strength. The young man says he wanted to learn that technique, but the plump young man replies that he doesn't need it. Suddenly, the coach announces that in the second round, there will also be randomly selected opponents. The red-haired coach asks if the draw will truly be random, and the academy president says he doesn't know. The masked young man feels anxious about not being able to face the hero, but the coach reassures him. With a wicked smile, he reveals that the young man has angered more people than he thinks. Then he folds a piece of paper in his hand and says, "The first match of the round has already been decided." As he opens the papers with a tense face, he prepares to announce the names of the next fighters. He then shouts the name Wulingjian, and the young man watches the stage attentively for the fight. His opponent is none other than the masked young man, Xiao Huo, who smiles wickedly. The girl with pink hair and the fox girl wonder how the draw was rigged this way. The coach shows the papers and denies any manipulation, saying that the academy is fair with everyone. The masked young man agrees and jumps into the arena, ready for the upcoming fight. He provokes the hero, questioning if the young man is afraid of his power, making the fox girl angry. The young coach told the girl that enough talk and he prepared for the next fight. With a serious look, he said he wouldn't back down if he wanted to enter the ranks of the best in the academy. The girl with pink hair noticed he was strong, but the fox girl felt jealous, while the plump boy took notes. The hero entered the fighting arena and faced his opponent with a serious and determined look. The masked boy smiled and said he hadn't expected to find someone brave to fight him. With a wicked smile, he prepared to attack the hero with his massive sword. Before he could wait for the fight to start, he advanced and said he would settle the score with the young man. The fox girl screams, saying that this is a surprise attack, but the coach pretends the fight has already begun. Angrily, she complained that everyone in the academy teases her brother and described them as despicable. The hero managed to evade all of the opponent's attacks with astonishing agility. The masked boy continued to attack relentlessly, but he couldn't hit the hero at all. The coach is amazed by the young man's speed and can't believe what he's seeing. Suddenly, the hero appears behind the opponent, and the coach shouts to warn him. With a powerful blow, he prepares to hit the masked boy from behind with all his strength. The boy turned and blocked the strike, saying that even though the young man was fast, it wasn't enough. A blue flame explosion erupted, sending shockwaves throughout the arena. The hero was thrown back by the force of the explosion, and the opponent emerged unscathed. He managed to protect himself from the flames with his arm, but he appeared to have sustained minor burns. The masked young man said he now understood the hero's fighting style and wouldn't allow him to get close. The hero blew on his burned hand and complained that the opponent's flames were too hot. With a serious look, he felt that the situation was becoming very dangerous for him. Then, the masked boy concentrated a massive amount of blue flames in his hand. He summoned 2 giant fire dragons and prepared for the final attack in the arena. The hero stepped back, feeling that the heat was too high to protect himself with his body. The coach smiled wickedly and said he wished the masked boy would finish off the hero. The girl with white hair said it was time for the young man to reveal his devilish techniques to win. The hero was in a corner of the arena and realized there was nowhere to escape to at the moment. With a wicked smile, the masked boy shouted for the hero to die once and for all. The fire dragons advanced toward the young man with astonishing speed. The hero said he had no choice and had to use all his strength to win the fight. The girls were excited, and the plump boy wondered what technique the Chief Lingen would use now. He made a gesture with his hands, ready to use one of his immortal secret techniques. Then, he shouted the name of the technique, which was chest press, pushing the flames away. The opponent yelled that this was not an immortal technique, and the young man replied that it was from his experience in fitness. The masked boy praised him for holding the dragons but warned him that his tricks were not over yet. Suddenly, the flames in the hero's hands exploded and scattered throughout the fighting arena. The flames then transformed into dozens of blue fire, lotus flowers that surrounded the young man. The opponent challenged him to gather all the lotus flowers with such an exciting attack. The hero said that to win, he had to use a more powerful immortal technique than the previous one. Then, he prepared to use one of his secret immortal techniques to defend himself. The hero used the side roll exercise and created multiple images of himself in the arena. The young man with white hair was shocked and thought he had learned his technique, but another person quickly corrected him. With swift movements, the hero was able to dodge all the fiery lotus flowers. The opponent felt he was using airflow to blow the flames away, which he found annoying. He stated that the young man was now surrounded by fire energy and ready for the next attack. Then, he used a rocky fire prison to trap the hero in the arena. The other students were puzzled about how he used a ground technique while having a connection to fire and metals. The coach bragged about the young man's elemental exchange style, which annoyed the opponent. The masked boy mocked the others for not knowing the principle of the 5 elements in the world. The dean was impressed by the technique and told the coach to record everything using the display stone. The coach was worried about the cost of the crystal, but the dean wasn't impressed by money. The masked boy said he now understood the principles of the world and that his techniques had no limits. With a war cry, he prepared to attack the hero with his new powerful technique. Using a destructive explosion, he launched a devastating attack toward the hero. The rocky prison exploded, and stone shards flew everywhere with astonishing force. The chubby boy and the girl with pink hair shouted the hero's name. They appeared worried for his safety, while the red-haired coach mourned the loss of his spirit stones and nearly fainted from the pain. The pink-haired girl prepared to save the hero, but a fox girl stopped her from going. The girl asked why she was preventing her from helping, and the fox girl replied not to worry. With a confident smile, she said a small technique like that wouldn't be a problem for her brother. The masked boy smiled in satisfaction and said that a native of this world would never be close to him. Suddenly, he felt a vibration in the arena and wondered what was happening on the ground. The earth began to shake violently, and the entire arena started cracking and collapsing. The other students wondered if it was an earthquake and were terrified by the situation in the arena. The fox girl smiled and said that her brother Lingen would finally show his true power. Suddenly, a golden light erupted from the hero, revealing that he was perfectly fine from the attack. With a strong movement, he used a rapid pressure on the seat and broke the rocky prison. The masked boy was shocked by the sight and couldn't believe his attack was blocked. The fox girl said that compared to her brother's regular training, this was nothing, and the other girl was astonished. The hero breathed calmly and said the weight was still light for him at that moment. The opponent got angry and said it was impossible for anyone from this world to embarrass him. Refusing to lose to anyone, he readied himself for the next attack. Using the power of metal and earth, he made his sword weigh 10,000 pounds. Then he launched thunder shards toward the hero with all his might. The dean said that the young man's anger clouded his judgment, and the colorful coach agreed. He forgot that his opponent was better in close combat and prepared for a counterattack. The hero used a body rotation exercise and spun to dodge the sword attack. With a quick move, he avoided the blade, and the sword ended up stuck in the ground. The masked boy was shocked because he saw his mysterious black weapon being seized by the opponent. He saw the hero's fist coming towards his face and couldn't dodge the blow in time. The hit struck him directly, sending him flying backward with immense force. The opponent was tense from the blow and couldn't understand how he was hit so easily. The hero appeared before him and said he had lost the fight and that everything was over now. The girls celebrated the hero's victory, and the fox girl shouted his name. The coach was angry about the defeat and called the masked boy useless for losing. Then the hero turned and walked away, leaving the defeated opponent behind in the arena. With his eyes shaded by anger, the masked young man shouted at the hero to stop in his tracks. Refusing to lose, he asked Master Dan to lend him his power for one final game. Master Dan shouted that it was madness to ask for his power, refusing to risk his soul for a simple test. But the boy insisted, saying if he didn't exert himself now, his coming to this world would be meaningless. His mind returned to the idea of being just an ordinary student who faced bullying for reading manga in the street. Filled with anger, he imagined he had the powers of a hero to take revenge on everyone. Suddenly, a voice warned him, and the young man looked to see. A truck was coming toward him at a high speed, and he immediately understood that the driver wouldn't be able to brake in time. The next thing he knows, he simply wakes up in the manga world, shocked that he was really transported. Even after becoming a prominent young man, he was still despised, and others threw things at him. However, the boy promised he would no longer be worthless because he now possessed a mysterious ring. Just like in the stories, the ring contained the spirit of a powerful practitioner named Master Dan. Before his death, the man was a master in alchemy and helped the young man become much stronger. Thanks to his new abilities, he took revenge on everyone who humiliated him and put them in their place mercilessly. Due to his outstanding performance, he started to earn the respect and admiration of his family. The young man then decided to take the lead of the clan to prove he was no longer a failure. In the present, it is claimed that with the hero's power, he cannot lose to any ordinary person. With few options, Master Dan acknowledges this, saying he cannot deal with the boy's stubbornness. He warns that the energy he has will only last a short while and gives him a heads up. The spirit cries out in pain, informing the young man that he must use this power with caution and wisdom. Surrounded by a golden aura, the boy tells the master not to worry, declaring that victory is indeed his. In the observation tower, the coach notes that the boy's aura seems unnatural, and the director agrees. Master Dan explains that despite his power and life, he can only grant him the power of the Heart of Gold stage. but the boy smiles, saying what matters most is the ability to harness the flames of the 5 elements. Combining the elements of metal and water, he gathers his strength for a colossal strike. With a battle cry, he unleashes a wave of blue energy directly toward the hero. The attack lands a direct hit, fully engulfing him in a watery explosion. Now, the prominent young man is trapped in a ball of water, appearing as if he is about to drown. The pink-haired girl is astonished, wondering how he suddenly regained his strength and noticed that his talent had also surged to the Heart of Gold stage. The fox girl screams that it is impossible for a new student to possess such power and accuses him of cheating. But the coach interrupted her, saying she shouldn't make accusations without evidence. The masked boy commented that even with all that power, the immersion would definitely affect him. Another student began to shout that this was more than just a fight, and that they were being pulled into the arena. Suddenly, even the academy director almost got swept away by the fallout of the battle. A wave of red energy is unleashed to calm the fight and protect the crowd, leaving everyone stunned in surprise as he settled everything with just a single movement. One student remarked that he has no regrets coming to an academy with such powerful characters, while another points out that the director's artificial legs are showing because he's soaring at a high altitude. Meanwhile, the masked boy tells himself he refuses to be ordinary anymore and that he must win at all costs. Suddenly, a powerful light emanates from within the water prison at the edge of the explosion. With a strong punch, the young man shatters the water prison and breaks through the attack barriers. The masked boy freezes at the sight, unable to comprehend what just happened. The hero declares that he has more to fight for and prepares for a counterattack. He then channels his immortal technique, which looks like a completely ordinary punch. The punch lands directly on his opponent, sending the man flying with an astonishing force. The masked boy is affected by the sheer power of the strike, struggling to believe in its raw strength. This impact causes a massive explosion in the arena, creating a gigantic cloud of dust. The resulting wave destroys everything around them, forcing the students to protect themselves as best as they could. The others thank the director, relieved that the wave of the explosion nearly hit them in the stands. The director loudly wonders how a strike without spiritual energy can be so powerful. Completely astonished, the smoke finally clears, revealing the arena floor completely torn apart due to the battle. Lying on the ground, the masked boy finds it hard to believe the situation, and the master confirms his defeat. He refuses to accept his loss and tries to retaliate, but the spirit tells him to stop wasting his efforts. Just at that moment, the hero approaches and apologizes, leaving his opponent even more confused. Without hesitation, the hero strikes the masked boy, who screams in pain. The blow knocks him out completely, leaving him burned on the arena floor. With a serious look, the hero reveals a secret. As it turns out, he is also a transmigrator. The coach grows angry, questioning the true power of that person. The winner of the match is announced, and the hero celebrates as the crowd goes wild. The two girls race to the stage and hug him tightly, congratulating him on his victory. The boy feels a bit embarrassed and admits that the battle was exhausting for him. In the end, the pink-haired girl says there's no need to worry, assuring him that she has plenty of food. Then, she pulls out a massive piece of meat from a very strange place, surprising everyone. The fox girl screams at her to put the food elsewhere, but the girl doesn't see what the big deal is, simply explaining that it's the place where she has the most space, as if she were about to drop the fox girl from the ridiculous scene. While the hero eats, the fox girl decides she will learn to cook, so she can provide some competition. The coach shouts that the competition is over and orders them to leave the stage immediately. Suddenly, a thought lights up in the hero's mind as he chews on a huge piece of meat. He takes 2 pieces of meat in his hands and heads towards his fallen opponent on the ground. The hero offers the food and asks if the other is hungry too. The boy with the mask glares at the piece of meat with disdain and rejects the offer. Angrily, he slaps the meat away and shouts that he doesn't need the hero's pity. The masked boy runs away, making the fox girl angry, but the hero stops her from doing anything. The pink-haired girl calls him generous, but the hero explains that they are from the same place. The two girls look puzzled, wondering what he means by being from the same place. The coach, who despises him, mocks the boy, saying it's shameful for him to call himself the chosen one. With a wicked look in his eyes, he thinks he needs to find another way to deal with the hero. Suddenly, a hand appears and slaps a fine directly on the coach's face. The old man from the disciplinary committee has arrived, punishing him with a fine of 100 spirit stones for spitting on the ground. The coach is surprised but quickly flustered and agrees to pay the old man. He pays the fine with a look full of resentment and vows to take revenge on the hero because of this humiliation. Meanwhile, the hero suddenly sneezes and wonders what happened to him. The girl offers him some soup, but he ignores it, saying there must be someone who thinks of him. Suddenly, a girl with white hair appears, calling the hero's name with a serious expression. Her gaze is cold and determined as she stares at him without saying more. The coach tries to intervene, warning her that it's not her turn to fight now. She acknowledges that the hero has some power but completely ignores the coach to speak to him. The girl says she was surprised he finished the last match so easily, then insults the fallen opponent. Angry, she declares that since others couldn't force him to use his true techniques, she will do it herself. The hero becomes agitated and confused about why she accuses him of being a demon. She asks the coach if she can fight now. He agrees, but says she must choose an opponent. With a wicked and confident smile, it seems the white-haired girl has a plan in mind. She simply raises her sword and challenges all the remaining students to fight her all at once. The others are shocked by her arrogance, but one admits that her high cultivation level is impressive. The masked boy says she was the woman he chose, but the spirit reminds him that she is after the hero. The spirit reminds him that the other boy is considered a mover, and tells him to stop dreaming. However, the boy smiles, saying that having a mover as an opponent confirms his chosen status. Mr. Dan has lost all patience, wondering how he got trapped by this boy. With pure determination in his eyes, the young man vows to overcome every obstacle and crush anyone in his path. He asks the coach if this isn't against the rules, but the coach merely replies that this is how youth should be. He asks the girl if she is sure of her decision, and she confirms that she doesn't want to waste any more time. With an excited voice, the coach encourages her to show them what today's youth can do. Then the coach sighs in disappointment and announces the beginning of the battle between the girl and the other students. The others, feeling disturbed by her behavior, prepare to attack with everything they have. She mocks their techniques, calling them cheap tricks as she readies for battle. Then she unleashes the technique, Dance of the 100 Swords, and a bright light emanates from her body. One student declares he will break all the rules with his power as he charges forward. He uses the technique, Purple Thunder Blade, but the girl appears completely unconcerned. With a look of pure disdain, she asks him if he really wants to compete in pure strength with her. Suddenly, his sword begins to shatter as an intense light radiates from the white-haired girl. His sword breaks into a million pieces, and the boy can only stare in shock, amazed by her power. The resulting wave hits him directly, sending him and the other students flying. He soars across the arena before crashing to the ground, completely defeated and unable to continue. The red-haired boy and the chubby boy watch the scene, astonished by the girl's overwhelming strength. The man loses consciousness upon impact, his face filled with pain and shock as he falls to the ground. The red-haired boy praises the girl for taking down the young master with a single move. The chubby boy is also in awe, saying her swordsmanship is on another level. Suddenly, the girl shouts at the chubby boy, asking why he hasn't entered the arena yet. With a confident smile, the red-haired boy declares he will never lose to anyone. Suddenly, a blade flies towards the girl, but she dodges it with a swift movement. The boy attacks, but she avoids the strike and readies for a counterattack. With a powerful kick, she lands a strong blow, sending him flying across the arena. The others try to seize the opportunity and prepare to attack the girl from behind. As her awareness of the endless fight increases, she decides to end everything with one final move. With a swift motion, she prepares to unleash her most powerful sword technique. The others cheer when they see she can fly, wondering if she has truly reached the golden core stage. The red-haired boy explains that it's not flying technique, but sword control, and the chubby boy confirms he read about it in an academy book. At that moment, a bright light envelops the girl, leaving everyone gazing in amazement. The other students doubt that the light obscures their vision and describe the girl as shameless. She calls upon thousands of swords, with a look of pure determination on her face as she prepares for the final attack. With a battle cry, she unleashes a barrage of swords towards the other students with all her might. Her opponents are struck and fall to the ground, defeated, and without the energy to fight. The pink-haired girl says she's amazing for defeating everyone with a single move. But the fox girl replies that even with her strength, Brother Lingen is stronger than her. Suddenly, one of the injured students stumbles, threatening the girl with a look full of anger. He asks her why she hurt him, and another suggests it might have been intentional because he was looking at her. Elsewhere, a large man observes the scene and notes that the young lady has become stronger. The coach announces the white-haired girl is the winner of the match, who appears lost in thought. She looks directly at the hero, preparing for their final confrontation in the arena. With a serious look, she says it's time to settle their differences once and for all. The hero asks her if she needs a moment to rest, but the girl insists it's unnecessary. She explains that defeating the others has consumed a little of her energy and enters a fighting stance. The coach says they are the strongest competitors, and he is excited to see their fight, and the others agree. Suddenly, the colorful coach launches several drones into the arena, ready for something. The drones begin filming the bodies of the unconscious students on the ground in a strange scene. Then, the robots start dragging the students by their hair and pulling them out of the arena. The competitors face each other, ready for the final battle that will determine the grand champion. The boy speaks nervously, trying to lighten the tension by saying, "This is all a big misunderstanding." The girl shouts for him to be quiet, and promises to force him to reveal his demonic identity. With an embarrassed smile, he says she is very mistaken because he has no cultivation. He asks her why she hates him so much, and the girl focuses on him with pure hatred in her gaze. The young woman screams that he has no idea what she has been through as she recalls her past. With her rising anger, he realizes he has said something terribly wrong. Without hesitation, the girl unleashes a powerful sword attack towards the hero. Feeling the immense energy, he knows he cannot completely stop that strike directly. The young man quickly uses a high immortal jump technique to dodge the attack. The strike hits the ground, creating a massive explosion and kicking up a huge cloud of dust. With a powerful jump, he soars into the air, avoiding the girl's attack. He continues to rise, ready for what comes next in this final battle. The director's son is astonished, while the chubby boy cheers for the hero's amazing strength. Relaxed, the hero thinks to himself that he has finally managed to evade that dangerous strike. Standing on her sword, the girl says she would like to see how he plans to dodge this now. In the air, she prepares to use one of her most potent techniques to end this battle once and for all. The girl unleashes the heaven-splitting sword technique, sending a devastating attack downward. The impact creates an explosion in the arena, larger than the one before. As the shockwave spreads outward, the girl calmly watches the result of her overwhelming attack. The coach asks if the battle has become too dangerous, but the director merely responds that it is getting exciting. The hero prepares to use an immortal technique, and the girl watches him keenly. Using his technique, he manages to catch the giant sword of the girl with his bare hands. The pink-haired girl gasps in astonishment, but the fox girl says that his strength is simply unbelievable. Overwhelmed with anger, the white-haired girl describes him as a demonic cultivator and gets ready to unleash her full power. Soaring through the sky, the young woman prepares her 10,000 swords technique. Then the girl sends down an endless rain of swords towards the hero with all her strength. The hero takes a deep breath and prepares to face another attack from his immortal techniques. With a strong inhale, he creates a powerful whirlwind around himself as defense. Using his technique, he manages to catch each sword individually, leaving the girl unable to believe her eyes. The coach, who hates the hero, recalls a scene from his memories. Remembering when his sword was caught the same way, the hero compresses the trapped swords into an energy ball, just as the girl rushes into attack. The young man throws the energy ball at her, saying she must admit defeat. The energy ball strikes the ground, and the girl screams in anger at the hero's audacity. With hatred in her eyes, she vows to never give in to a demonic cultivator. The narrative flashes back 10 years to the peak of Eugene, where a little girl calls for her mother.